and welcome to ButterFey Emporium, where I take butterflies, talk about them, and draw and write a story about them as if they were a fae or fairy. If you like the stickers being drawn in the background, they are available on my Etsy, ButterFey Emporium. And finally, be sure to stick around and enjoy ButterFey Emporium Episode 1, Pipevine Swallowtail. The Pipevine Swallowtail butterfly will only feed on plants in the family Aristolochiaceae, also known as the birthwort family, named for their use in childbirth during ancient times, which are incredibly poisonous vines with flowers shaped like tobacco pipes. They contain high amounts of aristolochic acids. These acids are absorbed by the butterflies, which eat the plants and gain a high concentration of the acids. However, when the eggs are laid, the one who laid the eggs loses some of their concentration of aristolochic acids. When searching for a place to lay her eggs, the mother has three criteria. The egg must be placed on a young leaf, it must be placed on a leaf with no other butterfly eggs, and most importantly, it must be placed on a pipevine leaf. The mother refuses to lay an egg on any other type of plant. Eggs are usually laid in clusters of 16 or more. The eggs have small bumps around their shell which, once hatched, the larvae will eat and gain nutrition from. During the first or third stages of their growth, called instars, the caterpillars feed in long lines simultaneously to make them seem larger than they actually are in the eyes of predators. When they are spotted, they secrete aristolochic acids through their osmeterium, a V-shaped organ that resembles an antenna, that repels predators. The larvae take 12 to 39 days to pupate and they shed their skin or molt 5 times, once to progress to each instar. Before pupating, the larvae will shit out their organs and then begin searching for a place to build their pupa. The pupa can be green or brown, and this is the stage where you can start to tell the gender of the butterflies. Near the tip of the pupa, if it's a female, there will be a small dent. The pupa will stay in this stage over winter if it was named during a colder month, but if not, it will only stay in the pupa for a little over half a month. Males tend to emerge earlier than females so that the females will have a mate when they emerge. The Pipevine Swallowtail is a species with sexual dimorphism. This just means that the male is different than the female in terms of appearance. On the front of their wings, the male's white spots will be smaller than the female's, and on the back of their wings, the females will have less iridescent blue, lower down on the hind wing, and more prominent white spots on the forewing. Pipevine swallowtails have several species of butterflies that mimic them. The most interesting of them is the white admiral, which will only mimic the pipevine swallowtail if there are pipevine swallowtails in the area. And with the informative part out of the way, let's begin with the story of Princess Penelope. Dearest Olivia, I write to inform you that I will not be returning to our home in the southern foliage, even though I have completed the yearly visit to my hometown. For I believe my duty lies elsewhere. I have been given a quest of the utmost importance by the eldest storyteller of the Pipevines herself, a quest which will bring much glory if I succeed. I have gone into town to write this letter, but after this I must return to that dreadful abode. But alas, I am getting ahead of myself. On the festival of the first month, I entered the village square and soon found a group of about a dozen young children, around 8 or 9 years, whose eyes shone brighter than the stars, burning with their excitement. They were gathered around the eldest storyteller in her yellow gown, similar to that of the old royalty. She spoke grimly and told them the story of Princess Penelope, a common tale around my kind. But since you are not of the Pipevines, I shall transcribe the tale here as spoken. Deep in the northern foliage, past the smoke-embedded mountains, there lies a castle covered in pipevine plants, overgrown with the smoky vines. They say a restless spirit lies there, Princess Penelope of the dark swallowtails. She grew up like any other royalty, surrounded by tens of siblings, each of whom she loved dearly with all her heart. They say her love for her family was as timeless as air and as boundless as fire. Every spring, they fed off the pipevine that threatened to engulf their palace and the lands beyond the smoke-embedded mountains. They defended their home with valor, their strength coming from their bond with each other. However, upon reaching the time for their pupation, when they entered their pupa, a horrible blizzard struck, devastating the northern lands and wiping out all of the dark swallowtail royal family. All except Princess Penelope, When she emerged from her pupa, she searched endlessly for her family, but she never found them. She perished alone in the vines. Her spirit still roams Castle Pipevine. Her voice can still be heard calling out the names of her beloved siblings. The children's reactions were varied. Some clapped, some ran, some shook in terror. The elder's face remained stark as her eyes met mine, and she scowled in recognition. She warned the children not to go looking in the northern foliage, for several deaths have occurred in the region near Castle Pipevine. She then took my arm and pulled me into a dimly lit crevice of the village, away from the eyes of the younglings. I assumed she would scold me for not visiting soon enough, but to my surprise, she asked me in that same gruff tone to go check Castle Pipevine for Princess Penelope. I laughed, foolishly, but agreed to go anyways. Throughout my journey, I crossed many towns, the people of whom spoke of pupa being killed and yellow cloth being left behind each night. Terrible tragedies indeed. When I arrived at the smoke-covered castle, I searched every last extended hallway and each grossly extravagant room until I reached the garden, which seemed to smile like the expression of a mother seeing her newborn. Unafraid, I searched the garden in search of any sign of the princess of legend, but there was nothing to be found but a steep tree which loomed over the garden's nurture. I strided towards the tree carelessly and froze when I heard a crunch beneath my feet. I looked down, pipevine pupa, thousands of them, and bones within. I felt my lungs burn, my chest tightened. Then there was a voice. "Did you take them?" The voice was soft, like a soothing whisper, but sharper than a blade. I felt a cold down my shoulder. I looked down, yellow cloth stained dark red. The deaths in the pupa in the nearby towns. I know she is behind this, and I must banish her. I know this decision will likely lead to the end of my story, but on my honor as a knight, I must. I'm sending you this last message not to brag about my findings, but to say goodbye. Though we have had many feuds throughout the years, I know if I fail, you will do what is right. But until then, goodbye, old friend. From Amara. And that's the episode. If you enjoyed this first installment, please be sure to show your support by going to my Etsy and getting either of the Pipevine Swallowtail stickers I drew in this video, or just liking the video and subscribing. If you want to support me elsewhere, then know when the next episode will drop. I go by ButterFey Emporium on all platforms. And that's all. Bye bye!